Welcome back to Some Kind of Fun. We have Emily B. with us today. Emily, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you have a show coming up this week.
Lake Harriet Bandshell
Yeah.
on Wednesday, August 2nd.
Okay.
I guess.
And that's with Rude Girl.
Yes,
Yeah. And you were telling me off air that you used to work at the band shell.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you start there?
That was my first job. I was 14 and grew up not too far from Lake Harriet and had an opportunity to work there. Went down and applied for a job, and it was one of the best jobs I ever had because it was worked with just a great group of people, and the managers were really into music.
Right.
And so I am already from a musical family, so I had a lot of interest in music already, but that was where I felt like I really kind of found what I loved just on my own. We had like a boombox that we would just listen to all these, tapes of local music primarily, and and
So-
some and other things too, like the Clash. That was
Yeah.
where I got my love of the Clash. And so with Rude Girl, we're a female tribute to the Clash.
Yeah.
So the Replacements was a big one
Yeah.
that we all loved down there. We'd be, end of the night, and we'd be like, "Take out the trash, not this time." And Soul Asylum, Robin Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Later on was the Gear Daddies was a big one. Run Westy Run. So a lot of those.
Yeah. So what was the first record you bought?
One of the first records I bought on my own. I used to love going to a Garage Door, and I still have a little 45 of Run Westy Run, Dizzy Road, and that was one that stands out.
So you come from a musical family. Your dad was a replacement.
Yes.
And your mom was a booker at First Avenue?
Yes.
So, what early all ages shows did you first start going to?
A lot
Okay.
of all ages shows. I would feel very fortunate that I got to have the upbringing that I did.
Yeah, Steve.
I got to see Loud Fast Rules.
Okay.
So before they became Soul Asylum or changed their name, and Replacements. Again, I was a huge Replacements fan long
Yeah.
before my dad joined the band, so
Right.
that was really weird for me. They were absolutely my favorite band, and I just listened to those albums over and over and over again.
So that must have been pretty cool when your dad comes home one day and says, "Yeah, I'm a replacement now."
Yeah,
right?
it was it was very, very surreal.
Yeah.
So I remember when Bob Stinson left the band, and my dad was good friends with Bob Stinson. They worked at First Avenue for a while together, and they just were, pretty close. So I got to meet Bob Stinson, a few times through my dad, and when he left, I was like, I cried. I was like, my favorite
Yeah.
band is over. It's I just thought they were going to break up, and then I remember very distinctly that the night my mom came up, I had like kind of an attic room in our house, and she came up there and was like, "You're not going to believe this. Dad's the new replacement."
Oh, wow.
I was like, "What?"
That's exciting.
And then
Yeah.
my dad was always downplaying it, like saying, I ruined the band for her, or
Oh.
saying like that, that must have been so weird. And for me, it was just really exciting. It did change the band for me.
Yeah.
But I was just really proud of him, and
Yeah.
really, it was very, very exciting.
I was reading on your Bandcamp page that you asked your dad to teach you how to play guitar, and he said, "No, you got to learn on your own."
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Sure. So that was, I was probably around 16, 17, and was just, huge music fan. So I was like, oh, I kind of want to learn to play guitar. And so I asked him to, show me, if he would show me some stuff. And he's like, well, if you want to learn to play original music, you really just have to figure it out on your own and teach yourself, because that's what I did.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, come on, that's way too hard. I'm not going to do that. You know, just show me a couple chords. Or but so then I just kind of, you know, let that go as a as a as a goal for a while. And when I think it was about 29 or 30, was when I was like, I still want to do this, and so I picked up an acoustic guitar and just learned a few chords. I was living in France at the time, so I started playing a little bit. Then I had a baby, so that was done for a while. Set the guitar to the side again for a while, and then moved back to the Twin Cities. And funnily enough, it was at a staff meeting I was working at the Guthrie Theater, and we were kind of going around the table saying, "What's your secret ambition?" And mine was, I was like, I want to play kick-ass electric guitar, and I want to play music like the music of the Clash and with a group of women. And one of my colleagues, who is a good friend of mine also, shared that information with another friend who is a musician, and a good friend who's the bassist of Rude Girl. Her name is Jill Bardisell. And she shared that with her, and then Jill was like, "Oh, we should make this happen. Like, Emily's birthday is coming up. Let's like find a gig, and then let her know, like, hey, let's make this band. We have a gig." And so she got us a gig at the Triple Rock.
Okay.
And this was in December 22nd of 2007, which we later learned was the 5-year anniversary of Joe Strummer's death, which was just kind of a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
But anyway, she let me know that, you know, this was like, hey, we got 9 months to, you know, for you to learn guitar, and this is our band. I went to my dad and told him that we were doing this, and he was like, okay, we'll set you up. You're gonna play the Clash. You can borrow my telly, and here's a rat box, and you got to play it through my Marshall amp, and so we worked on the tone, and then he showed me just a few techniques that he was suggesting for certain songs.
Okay.
But other than that, I mostly did kind of learn things on my own. So I knew some chords, learned how to play bar chords, and then the rhythms I felt like were just sort of ingrained in me through listening to that music so much in my youth.
How did you but expand from Rude Girl to the 99ers and
Whale in the Thames?
Whale in the Thames.
So Whale in the Thames came next.
Okay.
I was at a point where, you know, I was really enjoying playing the music of the Clash, but I wanted to try writing my own songs. And so again, I went to my dad and you know, to let him know that I was wanting to do this, but I was having a hard time like starting. And he again gave me a few pointers. Told me that, well, and one of the things he said was, just start playing around with stuff and write anything. Write a bad song, it doesn't matter if it's good or not, but once you get something, things will start moving along. Like you'll get other ideas, you'll get better at it. Eventually you'll hopefully write a good song. And so and I still think that was really good advice, because I did start playing around with that and came up with a couple things, but I was still not quite there. And so talked to him again about it, and he was like, you know what, I've got loads of songs that I've started, I never finished them, you know, either they don't have lyrics yet, or I've got a little riff, but nothing else to go with it. He's like, I've got a few in mind that let's get together and I'll share these song starters, with you, and then you can finish them.
Okay.
Now then you'll have a start. And then this was it was around Christmas time that he told me that. It would have been Christmas of 2011, and he's like, "This is like my Christmas gift to you.
Okay.
You're gonna give you these song starters." I was like, "That's great." I was really excited about it. So, we're into January, and we're like, "Okay, so let's do this. Let's set up some time." So it ended up being we found a Sunday in early February, and I was getting ready that morning to go have our session. I was excited about it. I was getting my coat on, and I get a panicked call from my mom, and she's like, "Dad fell, and he's not responding. I don't know what to do." And I was like, "Well, did you call 911? Is there an ambulance coming?" And she's like, "Yes, the ambulance is coming." So, that, I was just super worried. Flew out the door, beat the ambulance to my parents' house, and that was the moment when my dad had his massive stroke.
Yeah.
And it was just so awful, and so emotional, and such a really awful.
Yeah.
I can't explain what a shock that was. So the song started. So I never got those song starters
Okay.
for that part of the story. But over time, processing that whole experience, I started writing songs. Like I had kind of like floodgates open in a way, just trying to, having that, having your heart ripped out kind of,
Right.
and just all those raw emotions. I ended up writing a string of songs, and one of them I ended up calling Song Starter, which was kind of about the experience.
Yeah.
And I never would have wanted those songs to come to me that way, but in the end, sorry, I'm getting emotional about it.
It's completely understandable. Yeah. I mean, your dad was clearly a huge influence on you both to, throw you in the deep end of like learn guitar, and then show you the tips on the Clash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you are a multi-generational musician. Your daughter's in Surly Girly.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what kind of support did you give her in terms of like getting into music?
Both of our girls were very musical growing up. They were in their school bands. They both played trumpet for a while, and then Eloise, the older one, she also played violin.
Mm-hmm.
And then our younger daughter, Dre, she plays piano. Both of the girls grew up hearing us do band practice, and because our practice space is in our basement. And then we were just really supportive of them playing music. So Eloise went off to college. She went to Earlham College in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And while she was there, she connected with a friend who was actually the daughter of some of our longtime friends, and they used to live in the Twin Cities. And the two girls got to be, they were like toddler friends,
Right.
when we would get together with their parents, and this was Maeve McNamara, who is the founder of Surly Girly. Eloise, was interested in just supporting supporting the band, but then they were looking for either a bass player or a guitar player, or possibly both, and so Eloise kind of raised her hand because she had started playing, messing around with the guitar before. She just started kind of jamming with them, I think, and ended up joining them, and just made huge progress really quickly, and became, was playing lead guitar with them and things like that. So she's way surpassed my skills already, that's for sure.
Let's talk about the 99ers. How'd that come about?
Yeah, so the 99ers, that was, Whale in the Thames played a gig with the 99ers. After the gig, well, we really enjoyed seeing the 99ers, and they afterwards told us they really liked our stuff too, and some of the songs that I write for Whale in the Thames are in French, and they're inspired by French punk bands that I like. So Steven in the 99ers, he really liked the French punk rock stuff, and his wife is a French speaker. He's British originally, but grew up in England and was like an actual 1977 British punk rocker himself. But he approached me not too long after that show and was like, "Hey, would you be willing to do like a cameo appearance with us and sing a song in French with us? Because we would love to incorporate some French punk rock into what we do." So I was flattered, and I was like, "Well, sure, I'll do that." And then as we got closer to the time that I'm trying to remember if it was before the first practice I had with them or after, they were like, "Oh, well, we're actually looking for a guitar player too, and like we kind of would like a permanent additional band member."
Okay.
And so I went to a few practices and was like, "This is a lot of fun. They're great musicians, and the songs are catchy and fun, and so that's how I ended up playing with them."
Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. This was a great interview, and come back soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for all you're doing.
All right.